The People's Republic of China is now in its fifth generation of administration. China is now under some kind of Renaissance period, with a glimpse of Mao's administrative practices reflected in the fifth successor of the communist throne. Unlike his nearest predecessors, who focused more on administration than ideology, Xi Jinping, China's incumbent leader, brought back the sentiments of a socialist society coupled with Chinese characteristics. Xi may be heralded as an ideal communist leader to hardliners, but a controversial authoritarian to the liberal democratic global arena and some Chinese dissenters. It is now Xi's turn to steer through the waters. But in what direction is it headed? What is the prospective future of communist China? The answer lies in the personality of the world's most controversial leader of today, Xi Jinping. Xi's life has a stark resemblance to the Cinderella story. His father, Xi Jinping, was one of the primary founders of the CCP. Born on June 15, 1953, in the country's capital, Beijing, Xi grew up as a member of the elite and enjoyed the privileges that went along with it. However, when his father became a casualty of Mao's Cultural Revolution, Xi's life of prestige came to an end. Kicked out from his elite school in Beijing, Xi was forced to do manual labor in China's rural areas for years. Similar to Hu Jintao, he did not display the utmost hate for those who took away his former life. Rather, he worked hard to please these people and regain them. Initially, he was repeatedly rejected because of his father's reputation. However, in 1974, he was finally granted admittance into the party, and from there, slowly rose in ranks. After finishing his chemical engineering degree at Tsinghua University in 1979, he then worked under the Vice Premier and Minister of National Defense, Geng Biao, for the next 3 years. In 1982, Xi became the party deputy secretary of Hubei province until he became a party committee member and vice mayor of Xiamen in the Fujian province in 1985. In 2000, he became the province's governor, wherein he mainly focused on the conservation of the environment and improved relations with Taiwan, which is only situated nearby. In 2003, he moved to Zhejiang province and became its party secretary. There, he focused on developing infrastructure aimed at promoting sustainable development. He finally entered the party's upper echelon when he became a member of the Politburo in 2007. In 2008, he was elected vice president, which set the course for his future role as the leader of China. Indeed, in 2013, he was elected president of the PRC. While we can say that this was Xi's happily ever after story, this was only the beginning of a greater tale that Xi was yet to tell. Xi envisioned the revival of China's greatness. He cited how thousands of years ago, China stood as the emblem of civilization and development, a global superpower with a vast territory. This rejuvenation is what he called the Chinese dream. To achieve this, he stated several goals: to double economic growth, increase military capability and strength, improved social welfare initiatives, and uphold the socialist ideals with Chinese characteristics such as collectivism. This has been the common theme for his policies. Within the ruling party, the communist ideology, which was supposed to cement it, was waning. It became a breeding ground for greedy officials who only wanted power and economic gain. While the previous leaders raised the standards as to the economic standing of China, they overlooked some of the vital sectors such as social welfare, healthcare, and the protection of the environment. Xi sought to address these. In the early years of his administration, Xi took attention to the practical things, focusing on the education, healthcare, labor, and housing sectors. Mirroring his policies as a governor, Xi also focused on sustainable development, aiming to control the luxurious lifestyles of the party cadres and reduce the waste of resources. Xi also conducted a massive anti-corruption campaign in 2012, aiming to fight off formalism, hedonism, extravagance, and bureaucratism. This led to thousands of government officials being kicked out of the office and punished. Having cleaned the CCP, Xi ensured that the role of the party remains vital in all political, social, and economic affairs. Within the party, Xi holds supreme power, possessing control over the police and military, as well as governmental and party affairs. He aimed to preserve communist ideals and Chinese thought, so much so that he reversed his predecessor's measures to open the country to foreign influence. Under Xi, foreign influences, culture, and ideas are very limited and undergo government scrutiny before being introduced to the country. Perhaps this is his measure to ensure that his goal of having socialism with Chinese characteristics within China remains pure and uninfluenced by the liberal West. However, as much as the influx of information from the outside is constrained, Chinese ideas, influence, and products from the inside flow more freely towards the rest of the world. Indeed, China has strengthened its exports in tech, raw materials, and other goods which are relatively cheaper to purchase from China, making trade partners, especially from ASEAN nations, dependent on these countries. As Xi's grip on power grows tighter, and with the government control being more centralized, oppositions and dissenters raised their voices, only to be silenced. Western ideas about press freedom, citizens' rights, and universalism are banned from schools and labeled subversive. There is also a massive censorship of critical opinions in online media. Xi's foreign policies, such as conducting military and economic operations within certain territories, also caused tensions with other countries such as Taiwan, Vietnam, and the Philippines, whose territories are under dispute with China. His domestic and foreign policies have been subject to international scrutiny, which caused countries such as the US to impose sanctions. China has had its fair share of international sanctions throughout the years. However, seeing that China is already a power player in the global arena, Xi can very well easily do counter-sanctions. With recent developments, it is only apparent that Xi's hold on power not only tightens but also extends, with the presidential term limit now removed. Now in his third term, it seems Xi Jinping is only here to stay and rule, perhaps even indefinitely. Despite international scrutiny and tensions with other countries, China under Xi has already set its eyes on attaining the Chinese dream, and it is now becoming more obvious to its neighbors. The sovereignty of Taiwan is now under threat with its annexation among the core priorities of Xi. China has also been adamant in asserting its power in its neighboring countries such as Vietnam and the Philippines. Only recently, China displayed its military might in an encounter between a Chinese Coast Guard vessel and the Philippine Coast Guard ship in the Spratly Islands, wherein the Chinese flashed a military-grade laser on the Philippine side, causing temporary blindness to the Philippine Coast Guards. It is clear that despite the diplomatic protests of the Philippines, China stands in its claim that it was justified and that the territory under dispute is theirs. These events only foreshadow what's to come ahead. It only seems that there is no stopping Xi Jinping from steering towards the Chinese dream, and he only keeps on moving forward. However, there is no guarantee that Xi will reach that goal in his lifetime. The world is yet to see it, but one thing is certain: the road ahead will be a tough one. As we conclude our China series, be sure to let us know your thoughts on any future series that you'd like to see. Stay tuned and thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified of future episodes.